All right, today we're jumping into a viral video that takes a reported gas shortage in India and just runs with it. It uses some really sharp satire to build this whole story, connecting local problems to geopolitics and some pretty biting political commentary. So let's break it down. So the video opens with this incredibly provocative statement, and right away it sets the tone for everything that follows. You know immediately this is not a straight news report. It's a piece of satire, and the core idea is that no matter what the government does, even something disastrous, supporters will spin it as a brilliant strategic move, a masterstroke. So what is the actual crisis that sparked all this commentary? Well, the video zeroes in on what it calls a really severe shortage of commercial gas cylinders. You know, the kind that restaurants, hotels, and small businesses absolutely depend on to function every single day. And here's a crucial point the narrator makes. They're not just talking about a slowdown or, a slight reduction in supply. The claim is that the flow of commercial liquid petroleum gas has been shut down completely. For a lot of businesses, that means everything just grinds to a halt. And to show just how big of a deal this is, the video throws out some pretty startling numbers. It claims that in Mumbai, a staggering 90% of restaurants are without gas, which has forced 20% of the hotels there to just close their doors. And meanwhile, down in Chennai, restaurants were apparently down to their last couple of days of supply. To make this feel really personal, the narrator shares this quote from a shopkeeper who says they've already had to empty their entire shop. This really highlights the real-world fear here, that sense of dread that other business owners are feeling, just waiting and thinking, we're next. So you know what happens when a critical supply disappears, right? A black market pops up. The video claims that these gas cylinders, which normally go for around 300 to 400 rupees, are suddenly being sold for as much as 5,000 rupees. That's just a crazy price hike that puts it completely out of reach for most people. Okay, so we've got a crisis. How does the video explain it? Well, this is where the satire really kicks into high gear. The narrator basically reframes this whole mess not as a government failure, but as some kind of deliberate, genius-level master plan. And that brings us back to the most important word in the whole video, masterstroke. It's used totally ironically, right? It's poking fun at the idea that some supporters will find a way to praise any government action, no matter how much it seems to hurt ordinary people. So here's the sarcastic logic they lay out. What's the problem? Oh, people are eating too much unhealthy street food. Momos, fried stuff. And the masterstroke solution to this? Just shut down all the gas for restaurants. The narrator mockingly presents this as some kind of grand public health initiative designed to force everyone to eat at home and get healthy. But it doesn't just stop with local satire. Oh no. The narrator then builds this really elaborate theory connecting these empty gas cylinders in India to the massive, complex chessboard of international politics. So according to the video's theory, this gas shortage is basically payback. The claim is that Iran is upset with India's leader because of his position on the conflict with Israel, and so they've cut off the gas shipments. And then it gets even more complicated, weaving in the US and accusing former President Trump of making things worse, and even blackmailing the Indian leader with some kind of mysterious pen drive. And yeah, the blame gets pointed squarely at Trump. The narrator claims he's stirring up conflict between countries, all for the sake of some personal file. And what's the direct result for people on the ground? Well, as the quote puts it, our momos and rotis have stopped because of him. It's a way of saying these huge global events have very real, very local consequences. And just when you think the satire can't get any more extreme, it does. The narrator then lays out what they sarcastically call the leader's ultimate vision, the real endgame behind all this hardship. So the punchline of this whole thing isn't actually about public health or geopolitics. The real plan, the narrator jokes, is to force the entire population to become completely independent from all modern energy. We're talking no gas, no oil. A return to total self-reliance. And get this, they actually lay out the supposed four-step plan. Step 1, cut the gas supply. Done. Step 2, teach people to cook with gas from sewers, which is a reference to a past statement. Step 3, send everyone back to the forest to chop wood for fuel. And the final, grand goal, achieve the Pashen Yug, or the Stone Age. But then, for the final act, the tone shifts completely. The video drops all the satire and gets very direct, very serious, and makes a pointed critique of the nation's leadership. The narrator poses this question, and there's no irony left. They're asking the leader directly,
what kind of compulsion could be so strong that it would force you to, in their words, bow down before Trump? The suggestion is that this shows a level of weakness that is damaging to the country.
And this is where it all lands. This is the final, powerful takeaway from the source video. The conclusion it draws is that if the leader really is compromised or being blackmailed, then the only honorable thing to do, for the good of India and its people, is to resign. It's a seriously provocative end to a very provocative critique.